The visual is not important here. The music is not important here. The voice is not important here. What matters are the words. If you cannot listen to the words, you do not belong here. If you understand this, welcome to the Fate Club. Accelerated karma is not a new rule of existence, but a change in speed, a compression of delay, a shortening of the distance between cause and consequence in a reality that no longer allows long-term separation between intention and outcome. What once unfolded across generations now unfolds within years, months, or within a single decisive shift that cannot be reversed once it is crossed. This is not because reality has become harsher, but because it has become more exact. In earlier conditions, a human being could live in contradiction for an entire lifetime, maintaining identities, roles, and narratives that were internally disconnected from truth, while consequences dissolved slowly enough to remain unrecognizable. The current phase of reality does not permit such diffusion. The gap between what is lived and what is true has narrowed to the point where it becomes structurally unstable. Accelerated karma does not announce itself through punishment or reward. It operates as immediate feedback within the system of consciousness itself. Actions, choices, and internal alignments now generate responses without delay, not because of moral judgment, but because the environment no longer absorbs distortion. This acceleration is often misunderstood as chaos. In reality, it is coherence increasing faster than the structures built to contain it. What collapses is not order, but outdated frameworks attempting to function beyond their viable range. In the present era, decisions no longer disappear into time. They remain active, visible, and consequential. Every unresolved contradiction persists as tension until resolution occurs, not through force, but through inevitability. Accelerated karma reveals itself through the breakdown of false continuity. Careers that once progressed through inertia lose momentum without dramatic failure. Relationships sustained by obligation rather than alignment dissolve without conflict. Belief systems maintained through repetition rather than understanding fade without opposition. Nothing is taken away. What disappears simply stops being supported by reality. This process does not require awareness. It does not wait for belief. It unfolds regardless of interpretation because it is not symbolic. It is mechanical. The current structure of reality no longer buffers internal inconsistency. Contradictions surface quickly, often without external triggers. What was once tolerated through distraction is now exposed through stillness. Accelerated karma is the removal of delay. Delay once allowed the mind to negotiate with itself. Without delay, negotiation collapses into recognition. Recognition is not emotional, is not dramatic, is simply the moment when a pattern can no longer continue because its conditions no longer exist. In this environment, motivation based on fear loses effectiveness. Not because fear disappears, but because it no longer generates sustainable movement. Effort applied in directions misaligned with internal truth produces diminishing returns. This is why many experience a loss of urgency without understanding why. The urgency belonged to a previous system. The system has moved on. Accelerated karma dismantles identities built on reaction. It erodes the need to constantly respond, defend, or prove. Not through discipline, but through irrelevance. The external world does not demand less. The internal mechanism simply refuses unnecessary output. This shift is often labeled as confusion. In fact, it is recalibration. Old reference points dissolve faster than new ones form, creating a temporary absence of orientation. During this phase, nothing is missing. Nothing needs to be fixed. The system is updating its relationship to causality. Accelerated karma also operates collectively. Social structures based on authority, without coherence, lose influence without rebellion. Narratives sustained by repetition rather than relevance dissolve without confrontation. No collapse is required. Support is simply withdrawn. This is why institutions fall apart quietly. Not through exposure, but through disinterest. Not through opposition, but through disengagement. Accelerated karma does not destroy systems. It removes their insulation from consequence. In the individual, this manifests as the inability to maintain divided lives. The separation between public identity and private truth becomes too costly to sustain. The internal friction exceeds the benefit of performance. At this stage, acceleration feels like slowing down. Reaction decreases. Observation increases. This is not awakening. It is efficiency. Consciousness begins to operate with fewer layers of mediation. Events are perceived more directly. Interpretation weakens. Accelerated karma is not spiritual. It is structural. Reality now responds faster than narrative can explain it. By the time justification forms, consequence has already occurred. This is why explanation loses power. This is why intention matters more than strategy. In earlier conditions, strategy could override alignment. In the current environment, strategy without alignment fails quickly and quietly. Accelerated karma does not chase anyone. It simply stops waiting. This shift creates the sensation that time itself has changed. Not because time is faster, but because delay has been removed from perception. Moments connect without buffer. Cause is visible in side effect. Effect reflects cause without distortion. This clarity is uncomfortable only when one attempts to resist it. Resistance increases friction. Alignment reduces effort. Nothing is demanded. Nothing is promised. Accelerated karma is the end of deferred consequence. It is the closing of the gap that once allowed escape from oneself. This is why the old world feels unfinished. It ended before it was acknowledged. What remains is not a new destination, but a different operating condition. A reality where coherence is required by default. No instruction is given. No method is offered. The system adjusts automatically. Accelerated karma is not about becoming better. It is about becoming congruent. When congruence is absent, movement stalls. When congruence is present, movement simplifies. This is not morality. It is physics applied to consciousness. Nothing personal is involved. The process does not care who understands it. It continues regardless. If you understand this, welcome to the club.